Well, Matt's just running off. 3, 2, 1. Oh no, there we are. It's where are we? It is the Kent Beck Scrum. It is Tuesday. Michael is here. Aresh is here. Here we go. Yes. So starting with me, updates from me. Was just in a pairing session, or sort of pairing DevOps with Tom from from Dree. And yeah, what have we done there? Yeah, we're sort of reviewing the new Dree GitHub push integration and making some progress there. It's still definitely in beta. We're going to have another meeting tomorrow. Yeah, other things. Yeah, I'm kind of trying to reach out to people to ask them about this new setup where we have potentially unlimited Slack history for the Slack instance. And I mean, yeah, big thing. I guess I need to make progress. Well, I've got a marketing report from the new marketing intern, which I should review, and I've got a new yeah, all the stuff to do on website one. That's me. Matt, I think you're in next. How are things going with you?
Yeah, good. Let's see. With Redeemify, I'm on Dree trying to install using push.
Oh yeah.
I guess I ended up in the cloud documentation. I installed the Dree client Python library.
Right.
So.
Right.
The only question for them I have, maybe you can answer it quick, is
sure.
I'm going to be able to use a Postgres database, right?
Right. Yes.
But, okay, I did, because I found documentation about adding Postgres and.
Yeah. Yeah, the Dree model is slightly different. Heroku kind of like will bundle you databases by default. The Dree model at the moment is sort of kicks you out to a what's the word? To a third-party vendor. So there's Elephant SQL who do databases and so on. Although Dree, I think, are considering bundling it as well. But that's their model at the moment.
Okay, I'll figure it out.
Cool. Yeah, good stuff. Anything else? Anything blocking you at all?
No, maybe Aresh can talk about it more, but we're doing a little bit with Event Manager.
Cool.
So I'll leave that to him. And
all right, excellent.
That's it. I'm
nice
good.
One. Nice one. Thanks, Matt. Michael, how are things going with you?
Good. I was just in a meeting with you and Dree.
Yes, you were indeed.
Oh.
Yeah, you had a great suggestion about how to help manage the config.
Yeah.
Anything else on your mind?
Just the pull request, I guess, and getting it.
Yeah. No, you said that you think you
had cleared up the merge conflict.
Yes. Well done.
So if you just look at John's issues,
right?
I think they can all be put in tickets. But if you just put them in tickets, we could potentially merge it in.
Right. Okay. Yes, and I will need to start doing deploys onto the main system. Yep. Good show. Thanks, Michael. Nothing blocking you otherwise?
No.
No. Excellent. Going on to Aresh. Hey, Aresh, good to see you. How are you doing?
Oh, hey. Well, nothing much. I've been talking with Tom Way and Matthew about the event manager project. If we should wait until we decide what video stream service we would like to use to start implementing the features or so. And then also I've been with Tom playing with a web RTC API. Where we're doing some tests, integrating a video stream in the event manager project. Nothing much.
All right. No, great stuff. Well, great work getting the action cable working on Event Manager, and great that you're involved. Anything blocking you at all?
No. Well, the only thing is that if we should wait for decide about the streaming service, which streaming service to use, or we could start implementing the features or the dummy features, because
right. Yeah. I mean, my assumption with Event Manager before this latest thing about the Google Hangouts API is that we would just be using Hangouts and YouTube. The events manager is all about managing events rather than about necessarily managing the stream and the video. I mean, it's my intention is to try and keep the scope of what it does restricted to be relatively small to help support it being a microservice. I feel like it's important that the event manager talks to whatever is doing the streaming or managing the actual video conferencing event, so that it knows, what the how many people are online, who's present, and so on, can do all the tracking and so on. But I would be cautious about bundling the video streaming thing in with the event manager itself as a complete package. Not that that's impossible. I think that sounds like another potentially quite complex challenge in itself. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, perhaps I expressed about myself. Yes, I agree with you that we need to separate the things. But somehow the event managers should start or talk with a third party to start the event, and also, as you said, it should read the status of those events. So
yes, it certainly needs to in principle talk to a third party system. Yeah, my assumption, as I say from the start, would be that would have been the Hangout plugin. Yeah, I mean that's a thing to investigate. Open area of research. I mean, I guess the particular thing that I was thinking that, given that Google seems like they're probably going to just, not support the Hangout, is that what we will need to do is moving forward is make sure that our system's agnostic to streaming services. So, I mean, at the moment, even with Google Hangouts, even with the loss of the API plugin, there's still a stream which will have a YouTube ID, which can be fed into the system manually, if not automatically. But so, I mean, I think in the long term, we need to be able to move from one streaming service to another. I mean, it brings me back to the domain model for what's it called, for website one, where we talk about having Hangouts is a word that's used throughout the thing when. And then also sort of almost interchangeably with event instances. And yeah, I guess I see them as like these two different bounded domains. There's one is the video conferencing domain, and the other one is the sort of event management, which is in principle separate from the video conferencing. But yes, I don't know if that makes much sense.
Well, I don't.
Go on, Matt.
Yeah, Sam, I think conceptually, we understand what you're saying. It just might be a little hard. I wonder if one way to do it is to implement something like video, like chatting.
Well, I mean, very possibly. I mean, actually, one of the things I would love to be able to do is have a mechanism for switching between text scrums and video scrums.
Yeah, I mean, just have an event that's not video. That's
sure.
A chat event.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I don't think that there's anything. I mean, I have to review the stories. I don't know if there's anything per se that requires the actual. I mean, the things that like a live detection of the event and who's present. Yes, I mean, in some ways, well, we'd have to review the stories. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of it's a spike thing. Play around with things if you want to experiment with having a. But I mean, what I would say, like, I feel like the event manager is what I'm imagining is being the scheduling system being pulled out of website one and managing people's ability to know where to go to find the latest thing. I would almost separate that from like the event holder, which is like running and providing the infrastructure for the actual events. But yeah, I mean, you could if you want to specify a kind of a separate project which is event holder and have an instance of that which is like for text events, then wow, that would be a very interesting way forward.
So what if we have event manager just be the backend API, and then it has a REST interface, right?
Right.
With WebSockets.
Mm-hmm.
And we just have a middleman React app posted on GitHub. at a certain domain, like events.agileventures.org or whatever, and it just reaches out and talks to the backend API.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the kind of model that I'm looking towards,
which is like
in the long term. Yeah.
A CRUD API along with a WebSocket to keep up to date about when other people have started, when events are supposed to start.
Absolutely. The thing that I've done at the moment with the event manager, making it Rails, and I think the scaffold at the moment has both the front end and the REST, has like web and REST interfaces, and I'm like, just because I would like to split those two halves immediately, but I don't see any rush to do that. I mean, the key thing I want to do is check that the event cable stuff is all working, which it now is. So, yeah, I mean, you guys can kind of push it in with, to a certain extent, because I'm distracted with other things. You guys feel free to push it in the direction that you fancy.
Maybe somebody could do a diagram, a simple diagram or something. That might help.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm just going to, because Anar just joined. I want to say hello to Anar. How are you doing, Anar? You all right?
Yeah, hello. Sorry for being late. At last, I managed to join one of your scrums.
Oh, no problem at all. Anything to update us with?
No, I was just actually, I haven't been doing anything last week. Yeah, but I'm going to take one of the local support tasks in Pivotal Tracker, but I think I need some clarifications on that part.
Okay. Right.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, but I wrote my actually concerns. So maybe if you have time to have a look at it. But I do understand that you are mainly now focusing on the website one project, right?
Well, more or less, as I'm kind of, I'm being, the main thing I'm focusing on is like the admin of the whole Agile Ventures, and I'm kind of not doing a fantastic job driving, like where we're like website one or local support forward at the moment. My big mission is to try and get these projects onto the DRE hosting system. I mean, I was working on local support DevOps today. Yeah, I don't know if does that answer your question?
Yeah, more or less. But is this? I don't understand that you're expecting someone from people from community to go ahead and try to do the management part as well, one by one, on the stuff that are in the task list or whatever.
Well, if we're talking about local support, I mean, my it's been for a while, and my ongoing hope is that it operates in a sort of distributed fashion, if you know what I mean. And I guess I'm also trying to write a book partly to describe all of those things. But the idea being that we all kind of, take part in taking the lead on voting on stories, discussing it. I mean, I still be the person who meets with the client, but that in terms of moving those things forward, I mean, it's all about, whatever interests us. I mean, I guess what I will say there is, I mean, I think we've got Matt and Michael and Aresh, who might want to have a bit of a longer discussion about Event Manager now. Matt and Aresh, were you planning to carry on pairing in a separate session now?
If Varesh is
well, we could try if you have time. I have perhaps 1 hour. We could try. Yeah,
let's try to get your screen sharing working too.
I don't know, Michael. Certainly what Michael was describing there in terms of splitting out the front end and the back end is definitely the way that we want to go. What maybe I propose, because we sort of come to the end of our Scrum and it's pair hookup time. That maybe, yeah, I mean, not necessarily immediately, but yeah, Varesh and Matt, if you want to open a sort of event manager session and people who are interested in that can join. I mean, there's a bigger conceptual thing that I'm hoping all of the projects can become, to a certain extent, self-managed by people taking initiative to vote on things that they're interested in working on, and this bigger pattern that I'm going to write more and more documentation on. But I could, if you guys, to carry on the event manager discussion, I mean, feel free to ping me on Slack and so on. But I guess I'm kind of introducing a pause. So if you guys want to if the conversation with Anar about local support wasn't so relevant to you, you guys, I think, should feel free to split on out. Anar, we can carry on talking here for a minute if you need further clarity.
Well, okay, it's fine.
Yeah, Resh already has a hangout, so should we just go to that?
Yeah, I think you can. Is that one being recorded?
No, I don't think Aresh's setup isn't quite right to record.
Ah.
Well, maybe I should start it.
Yeah, why don't you start a hangout then, Matt, and then it can get recorded, because of course Tom Way and others may be interested to see it. I know it's a pain to get these things recorded, but I think people do watch the recordings and follow up with stuff. So yeah. Why don't you go ahead and
start a new one?
Yeah, if you haven't got any more immediate questions for me, Matt.
Yeah. No.
All right. Great stuff. Okay. Cool. And so Anar was what I'm aware that I was maybe being very vague. I need to like document and sort things out. Yeah, was what I say made sense? Do you have still questions or doubts in your mind?
No, that's okay. I mean, the idea of decentralized management, that's okay, actually.
Mm-hmm.
There's one thing, actually, but I believe that still, if a person opens a task, or it's the requester of the task,
the requester, yes.
Yeah, yes, of the task. Then someone needs to be, how do you say, accountable for these tasks. If for example, for the task, for example, I'm talking about is you are the requester, and then do you think you can transfer the role of the requester to someone else? Because if you don't have time, then it basically means that the tasks are left there unattended.
Yes, I mean, there's something that does need to happen, and I think this is sort of a natural, or rather I should say a critical part of the cycle, is that there needs to be a review of the boards at some frequency where, whoever, I would put the emphasis not so much on the requester, but anybody who's like taken a task and indicated that they'll start work on it. We kind of need to check in. We kind of need to check in with them, on some frequency to say, how's it going? Have you made any progress? And if they haven't, and to say, and there's this process of like unassigning tasks and throwing them back into the icebox, so to speak, so that other people can take them up. Does that make sense?
Yes, perfectly. But what you describe is the situation when someone takes up the case, and for some reasons that because he's busy or
right,
he just can't do that, or maybe just split from the local support community. But what about the requester part? Because for this case, you are the requester for one of the cases that I took up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think. Go on.
Yeah. So,
no, right. So to deal with the requester,
what I usually do is I do understand that you are busy with a lot of administration stuff, and I just sit there and wait silently for you to look into the case and maybe come back with an answer if I requested something. But if that's okay, is that okay for someone to bother you once again if I don't see, for example, that you don't answer?
I mean, so for example, I mean, a person requests something. I mean, specifically in local support, we've got the situation of there's an actual client. Myself as project manager, I'm channeling the request from the client. I am as well as that, introducing requests of things that I think are like sensible refactorings, and of course, in principle, anybody else in the project as well, and unlike other people who've been involved can also make requests. Now, yeah, I think it's perfectly acceptable to ping the requester. Like if for example, someone's requested something, and then you put some questions for them in that say Pivotal Tracker ticket, and they then don't respond within a few days, I think it's perfectly acceptable to ping them, particularly for me, because I'm noticing with Pivotal Tracker that I very easily miss those things if I'm not like reviewing the boards frequently enough. And so, you know, yeah, I'm like, absolutely. If I haven't got back to you in 2 or 3 days, and you know, that's something that's blocking you making progress, then I would come in the Slack channel on local support and do @Tansakumi and say, oh, you know, I had these questions, you know, Tansaku or something. You know, is this something you could have a look at? So I think that would be that's fine. I think the other responsibility of the requester ultimately is to, you know, be kind of involved in terms of the accepting, rejecting process and so on. But that's maybe not your concern at the moment. I guess is that your concern about whether you can, you know, follow up to get feedback from the requester? Anna,
Yeah,
have we lost you?
probably.
No, well, I guess we lost Anna's audio coming and going. You're right,
Do you hear me
I
now?
hear you now, yes.
Need to just pick in case of those directions that you feel that the project are more stressed or something. Do you know what I mean? Perhaps I can be of any assistance in those directions where you need more assistance, or probably you need more hands to do stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Your audio was breaking up, and I think we missed some of what, or at least I missed some of what you were saying. All I heard was you asking me if I understood, and then offering to help. But you want to? I'm definitely open for receiving more help in all areas. Yeah. Do you want to? Was there more to what you were saying than just offering help? Please feel free to say again. I notice Anar is muted now. Yeah, absolutely. I think you could definitely be of use in directions where we need additional hands. Yes. Well, I mean, and I guess what we'll do if the audio is not working wonderfully well is we can take this up Anar in the local support channel, and we'll move forward there. Sure. Okay. Great stuff. All right. Well, that's a bit. Michael, maybe catch you later. I don't know if you'll join the event manager thing to tell them more about. I mean, I think that. Yeah. Ultimately, I'm sort of. I mean, this is longer term, and whether we'll live long enough to see that day. But you know, a setup where the Agile Ventures site is kind of made up of a series of, or the main site ultimately, kind of is just a middleman or just a static site. And it pulls out to a series of microservices via JavaScript, you know, as needed. That's yeah, definitely the way I'm thinking of going. Yeah. Anyway, I guess we'll wrap the Scrum there. I seem to be losing my voice, and catch up with you guys in Slack. All right. Bye for now.
Well.